Hey, what's up? This is Dave, and today we're going to talk about some of the starting classes and some of the stats, builds, etc. in Elden Ring. Just an overview of what to expect going in, whether you're returning player of the Soul series or if you're a new person. So first, let's talk about what the stats are in Elden Ring. What the stats what stats are there? What do they mean? And how can you build your character in the way that you want to? I'm on this game8.co website, and it's just going to talk a little about the stats here. So scroll down, and all right, so the first stat that you're going to have for your character in Elden Ring is Vigor, which increases your maximum HP. So when you level up, you get experience for killing things. When you go sit at a rest area or a bonfire, you can convert some of that experience into your character to level up, and you can put up your stats. So what Vigor will do is it'll increase your HP, increase your fire resistance, and makes you more resistant to poison and rot, which I'm not sure what rot is, but I assume it's some sort of something to do with becoming a zombie. Now, mind is a new stat. It's a new name for a stat. The previous Soul series didn't have it. Increases your FP, aka your mana pool, which is going to be your magic skills, your magic and your incantations and your sorceries will be coming out of this pool. It also makes you resistance to falling asleep in madness. It seems to have more status ailments in this game than in the previous Soul series. Just reading off these descriptions here. Next is going to be your endurance. Your endurance is your stamina, which is a green bar that dictates how much movements you can make at a time without having to rest. If you played, maybe you're new to Dark Souls, but you play Breath of the Wild, it's that circular bar that kind of, when you start running or sprinting or climbing, it starts to go down. Well, that's what your endurance is. And fortunately, though, in this game, you don't need to go through mini dungeons to increase your stamina. You just level up and you put up your stamina, aka your endurance. And also, it seems to give you resistance to hemorrhage, hemorrhoids. No, I don't know. Resistance to whatever that is, hemorrhage and frostbite. So I'm assuming there's areas where there's it gets nippy. There's probably some mountain peaks or some caves where you can get wrecked if your endurance is low. Fortunately, no matter what your build is, you're gonna have at least some endurance. Strength. This is gonna be for people using those big ass weapons, broadswords, uh, heavy armor. This is your category here. Higher strength is going to be required for heavy equipment and strength-based weapons, aka big ass swords, big ass spears. It's going to be. It's also going to increase your maximum equipment load. So it looks like everyone's going to need probably around 15 strength is probably going to be required. 13 to 15 strength, even if you're playing a really squishy person. And then dexterity. This is an important stat. It says it's gonna scale. It's gonna increase the damage with your dexterity scaling weapons. What does that mean? It's gonna be, there's certain swords that scale off of dexterity instead of strength. In my experience, samurai swords or short swords, curved swords, are gonna scale off of your dexterity. Then the broadswords, the two-handed swords, those will scale more off your strength. And then there's also going to be bow and arrows. It's going to scale off of dexterity. And what's that other thing I'm thinking of? I'll come back to it. But you can tell when you're in the game finally, and it's gonna show you. It's gonna have a letter grade next to. When you look at the stats of the weapon, the letter grade will be under Dex. If that's a higher letter grade, like a D B a D C B A, the higher that letter grade is gonna be the more scaling it has. Yes, it's gonna give you more damage with Dex based weapons. It's gonna reduce your cast time, which is super important if you're playing as a sorcerer or if you're using incantations. You're gonna need dexterity because everything happens in real time. There's no cutscenes or anything where you do cast spells. Intelligence boosts the damage for your sorceries, and this increases the scaling of the weapons, and then increases your magic resistance. Looks like a stat that's primarily just going to be for your witches and wizards. Faith looks like a big stat this game. So if played the last Souls game before, faith is going to be based on your miracles. Is going to be what you're going to use for miracles, which are called incantations now. And incantations also seem to be combined with pyromancy in this game, so that's something super important. And then arcane is just a luck stat that increases your ability to find rare items, which in these kind of games, items are important. I'm not sure your death. It also increases your death resistance. Like death must be an ailment status that they can cast on you. I played Dark Souls 1. I got a rare sword at the very beginning of the game for killing the first Dark Knight I've ever fought, and I used that sword pretty much for 80% of the game because it was just such a good sword. So arcane, maybe not a stat to sleep on, especially if you can swing it and you're not making a complicated build. All right, so now that we discussed the stats, let's go ahead and just take a look at what the starting classes here and see, we'll just go over them real quickly and see if they're right for you or what you may be interested in. Just talk it over. And yes, also some important information here. I've played all the Souls games and Sekiro. I haven't played Bloodborne because I didn't have a PlayStation 4. I still don't have a PlayStation 4. And there's no point in really watching a stream on it if you can't experience it. So for the most part, when I looked at Elden Ring, it looks like Dark Souls 4. Maybe for marketing purposes, they called it something else, but it's looking exactly like Dark Souls 4. A lot of the Souls mechanics are in the game. A lot of the familiarity, the vibe, the classes, the environment, the storyline. Probably I haven't looked into it because I'm not interested in the spoilers. But this game's gonna be Dark Souls 4. So if you've played the last Soul games, a lot of that information is gonna come over. Although you're still gonna be humbled in some ways. We're still going to have some crazy bosses and some surprises. So the first class we have here is Warrior. This website is WePC Gaming. I think they do some mods or whatever. Warrior class, let's just not interested in what they have to say. Level starts off at level 8. And then your soul level is, you level up when you get I'm not sure if they will be called souls in the game, but you get a certain currency, certain level experience when you complete tasks, when you kill monsters, kill bosses, things like that. You get experience, which you can convert into. You can. It's like you can use this currency, I should say. You get this currency. You can use it to buy stuff. You can use it to level, or you can use it to level up when you're at a bonfire at a rest place. You can use it for other things as well, but those are the two main things: purchasing things and leveling up. This experience, if you're killed, you can lose it. I think how it works is when you die in Elden Ring, I'm assuming what happens is when you die, you drop all your experience there. You drop all the currency that's on your body. You do have an opportunity to pick it up once you come back to life, if you can go back to that spot and reclaim it. Warrior here. Let's see, soul level 8, endurance 11, 10 strength, vigor 11. This looks like a pretty balanced class here. Dexterity. So this warrior guy is probably encouraging people to focus on medium armor. It seems medium to light armor, and then it could be using swords, daggers, bows. Let's see here. Pretty low on the faith, and intelligence is pretty mediocre. So probably not any. So this, you can kind of take this and go anywhere with it, but it's probably favoring the more roguish kind of build later on. So let's take us a Vagabond here. Vagabond, let me zoom in a little bit more. A Vagabond, starting at level 9, endurance 11, so strength is 14, dexterity is 13. So this guy's gonna he looks like gonna be some sort of, it's kind of building you towards using two-handed swords, one-handed swords, bows and arrows, maybe daggers, bombs, items. It's kind of looking like a kind of more roguish as well, or maybe a rogue slash a knight, maybe like a knight that's like outside the law or something like that. Mediocre intelligence here, faith mediocre. Probably not, if you're trying to be magical, probably not where you want to start, although we'll get into the details and the stats and all that after this. And hero, this one looks like just by a 16 strength, this is going to be the class. I would say go for this class if you are serious about a broad hand, if you're serious about broadswords, axes, things like that. This is going to look like the class to be. We already have high HP, we have high strength, we have level 7, so these are really boosted stats here for level 7. Dexterity is going to be a decent level, and then of course this is not the class you make for magic. So this is a good class if you want to go two-handed swords. I would recommend this for two-handed swords, axes, just being a total brute. Band level 5, so you have opportunity to level up some more and put in some more stats. So it's a low level, which I like. Arcane is interesting, so he's like a lucky little guy, so maybe the game is trying to boost you in that aspect, so maybe you get some rare stuff in the beginning of the game, and some strength. Everything else is pretty much balanced. Probably not the best class to start if you're trying to do spells, but then again, it's not the worst class either if you're trying to maybe splash in some spells or incantations later on, because it looks pretty balanced and it is a pretty low level. So this looks like a more like advanced starting class. The Bandit would be like the more advanced version of the Vagabond. The Vagabond would be the more novice friendly class version. And then let's see, the Samurai. Samurai's level 9, dexterity 5. Samurai's probably going to be good if you're trying to make a rogue. I can tell by that high dexterity. Probably the beginner rogue class is what I'd go with this. Useless faith. And this is going to be more focused on using swords, shields, sword and board. Maybe medium armor, heavy armor. You could go that route. It's looking like probably the weapons master. This guy here, let me see. He looks like the more friendly version of the warrior. Confessor, let's see. Okay, right now, first thing that sticks out to me is the faith here. And then soul level 10. So that's a very high level to start off with. Let's see, very balanced stats across the board. Let's take a look. So this is going to be, if you want to start off as like a pyromancer, or if you want to be a healer and you're new to the game, this looks like a very balanced friendly start. It looks like you have access to balanced stats, high faith, and then a good level, so you don't start the game like getting your ass whooped. The lower the level is probably, it's kind of like the difficulty, I suppose, is you're gonna have a rougher start the lower your level is. Prisoner, all right, he's level 6. Wow, level 6 dexterity, intelligence, mind. Oh, so this one looks like the guy you want to do if you're trying to get into magic. Yeah, this guy is gonna be sorcerer. Level 6, gonna be solid choice for magic, like a pure magic guy. This is the solid magic choice here. If you're focused on getting your Hogwarts on, I would definitely hit up the prisoner if this is accurate. Astrologer. Let's take a look. Also level 6, mind, dexterity, intelligence. The heck? I see. So this is also. Oh, what the? This might even be better for magic. I mean, it's not as balanced as the prisoner. So perhaps perhaps the prisoner here. I think I saw something else here. I was looking at another wiki. It says the prisoner is level 9 in this one, and then the astrologer is level 6. Interesting. Yeah, we don't know. We'd have to get a confirmation here. But I mean, I think this is backwards. I think their levels should be switched. But yeah, I think the prisoner, like, I mean, looking at these stats, there's no way he's level 6, bro. Like, this guy's level 10. Like, based on these stats, like, you're already in the double digits on a lot of things here. Friendly version, pretend this is a 10. The prisoner is going to be the more friendly version for going into magic. The astrologer is going to be the more challenging version to going into magic, because you're going to start. I'm assuming. It looks like yeah. This guy's level 10. This guy's level 6. The beauty of a sorcerer is it looks like you can still use. You're still going to rely on dex. So a sorcerer can still use like some certain swords and daggers, as well as a bow and arrow too. And you can actually, as a sorcerer, you can even use a sword in one hand and a wand in the other, or whatever the magic catalyst would be. The prophet, okay, let's see, level 7. Okay, your prophet's gonna be for your incantations. Probably the more friendlier version for incantations than the confessor. I think the confessor is gonna be the. Wait, hold on. Let me verify something here. So the confessor is level 10. The prophet is level 7. So the confessor is the easier version of getting into incantations than the prophet. The lower level, but you have a nice faith stat. You're lower level. You're gonna get slapped around a bit, but you have probably better growth potential if you're focused on incantations, pyromancies, things like that. An easier time in the beginning, I mean. And then lastly, you have the Wretch here. Now they got this right, yeah, level 1. The Wretch will start with a club, and then all your stats are 10. So the Wretch here is kind of the troll class. Dark Souls, the Souls games has a sense of humor at your expense. The caveat is, you notice that, like, we've been talking about the soul levels here. This is a level 1 soul level, which means that although you're going to get your ass handed to you in the beginning of the game, if you can muscle through it, you have good growth potential. You have slightly better growth potential than the other classes, because you have about 5 or 6 levels to gain. And then, of course, you have a well-balanced stats of all 10. So you don't have anything dipping under 10. And then you can get, say, like 5 or 6 levels. And now you're on. This could potentially be the best growth class because of your low level and your stats. However, it's good for people who've played the Soul games and know what to expect and have an idea what they're doing. Overall, the verdict: what's the best class? Where should you start? Whatever. Well, my recommendations are this: if you are a novice, new to the game, start with one of the higher level classes. Start with the hero, or start with the hero. Start with the samurai. Start with a prisoner. Just do that. See how it goes. Get a feel for the game. Don't worry about the technical stuff. And then what you want to do is you want to figure out what you want to do from early on and just focus on that, because in Dark Souls, what really matters is your stats and your builds. These classes are just a nice little preset, but they're not really that consequential. So what you want to do is figure out what kind of weapons you want to do early on. You want to do sorceries? Do you want to do incantations? Do you want to just be a badass with a sword? Do you want to have multiple weapons? Do you want to use bow and arrow, sword incantation? Do you want to do combinations? If that all sounds like insanely ridiculous right now, just do something basic, sword and board, sword and shield, and just focus on your stats like endurance, strength, dex, vigor. Focus on those type of things, and then later on you might throw something else. Uh, if you know you want to do magic, then it's gonna be up to you. I would say don't go for the prisoner. I would go for the astrologer, because you're gonna have a little harder time in the beginning, but you have a better growth thing. I would say that's what I'd recommend. I would say don't go for the vagabond. Go for the bandit, because you're gonna have a higher growth, because the bandit's a lower level. You slightly better growth, and that'll give you access. Those extra stat points will give you access to some of the things you need earlier, like equipment, weapons, things like that. I would say if you're this is the class I'm going to run here. Ta-da, the Wretch. If you're a returning Souls person, or you just want to make the investment to kind of eat a little more extra crap in the beginning, just go for the Wretch. I would say level 1, and then everything is 10, which gives you amazing growth throughout the thing. It's not required to be a badass. This game will still whoop your ass even with this little boost, and especially if you can get your hands on weapons and armors. Once you get your hands on weapons armor, you're no longer a Wretch, and it's not going to take you that long to get your hands on some weapons and armor. It won't. So you're not going to be, all these classes are really just subjective. They're just presets where you start the game, and they can kind of give you an idea of what to build and how to build. But you're not going to be using the weapons that start with them for long. You're not going to be using the armor that starts with it for long. A lot of the stuff that you see here is not really going to matter. What matters is just the stats themselves. And what you want to do is just figure out what you want to build, figure out where you want to go from there, and just stick with that build. Don't try to be jack of all trades. You're better off making a new character than becoming jack of all trades or anything like that. Just focus on, if you're new, I recommend just one specialty. For example, just sorcery and then a sword, or just incantation, or just two-handed sword and then you have a backup weapon like a bow and arrow, or you just a one-handed sword, then you can throw knives and bombs and be a ninja. Focus on something like that. Don't make it too complicated. Focus on what your primary weapon is. Maybe have one backup, but just figure what that is, and then plan your build out from now, so that you don't get screwed over, or you don't do less damage than you could have done. And I hope this helped out. I hope you enjoy the game. Have fun. If you get invaded, give me a call. I'll come whoop his ass for you. All right. Thanks for checking it out. You guys take care. And I'm going to post some gameplay videos. I'll probably do some more stuff that you like. I'm going to post some videos of me playing the game, and I'm looking forward to it. You guys take care.